When you're looking at new software, a really important question is going to be, do I build it or do I buy it? We live in a world right now where there are so many software as a service solutions and online apps that you can buy, and for a low monthly fee, you can get a ton of functionality. But is that always the right answer? So as you're going through this, one consideration is, does it make sense to buy my own? A lot of companies have fears that this is going to be very expensive and or very time consuming, and can they get what they want? And the answer is yes, you can absolutely get what you want. That is where custom software shines. A really common question I'll get is like, well, could this be built? Or my processes are very custom or very unique. You know, could software build it? And the answer is, well, exactly. That's what custom software does, is it's made for unique and special business processes. But that's still an important question. So in this video, I really want to go through some of the considerations between building software, buying, and a really common solution, which is a hybrid, which is we're going to have some off-the-shelf software and some custom solutions to fill in and make everything work well together. I think sometimes the perfect system does exist. I think sometimes people have put in the time and effort. I have clients of our own that have built software as a service for specific industries, and there's some amazing solutions out there. So I think if there's a system that runs the processes, the sales, estimating, order, fulfillment, billing, either has a CRM or integrates with a CRM in a way that's useful, then yeah, I think there are systems, third-party, off-the-shelf systems that can work amazing for a business. And if you want to build one, I can help you with it. So I think one thing when you're evaluating software, let's say you're a widget company and someone out there has made widgetsoftware.com that is perfect for your business. From the sales process, maybe it even feeds in leads for people who are interested in widgets. It's got the process to support your team. It does the estimating and or ordering process is perfect, the fulfillment and vendor communications. It's awesome. I think in that case, it's a no-brainer. That's the software you'd want. But now let's say your company sells widgets, but also what's-its. And the what's-its isn't really fit. Maybe widgets are a one-time large purchase and what's-its are a recurring sale. And this software doesn't support recurring sales. It doesn't really support these kind of transactions or allows clients to manage their account in the way. So there's a couple of options. One, if the widget software has an API, then we can simply expand it. We can build that customer portal in and tools to sell those what's-its, and you're all set. Or maybe we need to find another what's-it software and find a way to make them work well together. But sometimes if you sell widgets and you sell what's-its and there's also services and you have emergency repairs and there's really nothing on the market that meets your needs, and maybe you've spent years tying yourselves into knots trying to get it to work, in that case it can make total sense to go full custom, to just build it from the ground up, to have one CRM that supports all of the different departments, that everything works together, that we get the upsells and the cross promotions in there correctly. So it's never one right answer. It's always going to be so specific to your business. I think something that would be in contrast to a perfect system is perhaps a system built for an industry that's old. I've seen a lot of those, that's outdated, that doesn't really match how people are doing business today, maybe doesn't have an API so it can't be expanded, doesn't integrate, anything where you start tying yourself into knots to work with the software versus having the software work well for you. I think if your processes aren't matched by what's in the system, then it's not a good fit. You know, it can be really intimidating when you're looking at all of the options out there and how do you make a choice? How do you make sure you're spending your money wisely and maximizing your team's time? One, if the perfect system exists and it's the right price and it's amazing, that's the easy solution. Now, let's say you have a great system and it does 80% of what you're looking for, but it doesn't quite do the billing the way you want, or the reporting could be better, or you don't like the sales process. But if that system has an API, an application programming interface, we can extend it. So for instance, I have a client that has a great system, they love it, it runs everything, but it doesn't calculate sales tax correctly. So we were able to go in and build a custom solution just for the sales tax. I have other clients where we've been able to integrate systems or just add an extension. Now, when you look at that, there's often two different paths. Sometimes you can build within the system, within the platform. Something like Salesforce has ways to extend it and to build within it. Or you can build an outside solution on just Laravel, PHP, or another platform that connects into that proprietary system through an API. And there's good points and bad points of all of that. Sometimes the proprietary systems can be a struggle. It can be difficult to find developers, and I've had clients that have found that development to be significantly more expensive, since it's a specialty, than just general web programming. It can also mean that you're really married to that platform. If everything's built within it, it can be very difficult to move in the future. Whereas if you build something outside, then we can connect to the proprietary platform through the API, and then in the future, maybe we switch to a different system, or maybe we have multiple feeds into it. So again, always kind of a balance, but that's definitely a conversation worth having. The other is, let's say you have software that only is like 30% of what you want. I see this sometimes with CRMs a lot. People have a CRM and they like that it holds the people, or that it creates Christmas cards the right way, but it doesn't do a lot of other stuff for them. In that case, it's very rarely a good choice unless the 30% that it does is very specific. Maybe it's running marketing funnels in an amazing way, but nothing else. Well, great, maybe it should be part of a larger tech stack. So we always want to look at that. And sometimes it just makes sense to go full custom, that it's actually more cost effective and more powerful to just build the entire system from scratch. So if you want to build outside of a platform, it can look like a lot of things. I said for a lot of clients, we have built executive dashboards, special tools, often client interfaces that live actually on a separate website and then just connect to the third-party software through an API or an application programming interface. That allows us to exchange data with the core system, but build whatever we want over here. It gives you total freedom over what we go. We don't have any restrictions, and it also makes it very easy to read multiple inputs, maybe connecting different systems. Maybe I'm connecting to the sales system and I'm connecting to QuickBooks, and maybe your marketing funnel, all in one, we can connect to a singular space. I think considering custom software can be really important for a couple of reasons. One, custom software is built specifically to your needs, which means during the sales process, we're really going to dive into details, into the business needs, the processes, the requirements, often talking to every department in the company about what they need. That process is in itself very valuable to just define what you're looking for. Versus when you're looking at third-party software, it's much more looking at just a set of features and seeing how do they work for you. So I often think as people are deciding this, and I understand it could be a very difficult conversation and a decision to make, but to mix custom software in there, get a quote for custom. What does it cost? What's possible? How well does it meet your team's needs? And then maybe if it's a hybrid solution where we're going to use something off the shelf and something custom, or maybe it's full custom, maybe it's mostly off the shelf and we're just going to expand. I think with so many software as a service tools and so many web apps available, maybe we have Monday and Trello, and I've got HubSpot or Salesforce, I've got QuickBooks, I've got this, I've got an industry software. But it can be really hard if your clients don't know where to log in, if they have to go multiple places to get the information, to pay their bills, if you're having struggles if you have struggles communicating with vendors, and also if your team's not sure. I was talking to a client that had a pretty large tech stack, but they didn't have a single master for their customer information. So it was always hard for them to know where was the right address. So I think as there's so many options out there, what we really want to think about is the infrastructure and making sure that the business has a strong infrastructure, whether it's made up of custom software, third-party software, or is so often the case, a mix of both today. As a business owner, it can be really hard to weigh all of these different options and to even know what questions to ask. At I-Tul, we really help by understanding the business needs, by tailoring in on the core business processes and making sure that we're architecting an infrastructure, which means from the sales process through estimating, ordering, all of the pieces that might need to go in there, all of the client and vendor communications, that we have a clear path forward and we're really thinking it through. So it's our goal to act as your partner, to understand your business and to make technical recommendations. I always say business owners need to be their own CTO. They need to be able to understand the technology. You don't have to build it, you don't have to dive into the weeds on it, but being able to make those choices, and we need to act as your partner to help you do that. I think planning for the future is one of the most important things, and I actually think it's a mistake a lot of people make when they are evaluating their software, is choosing something that maybe works today or maybe is fine as kind of a fill-in, but isn't going to work for their vision. So for instance, if I know maybe I'm a 5-person company and it's my goal to be a 50-person company, and the software I choose is $100 per person per month, those fees can add up significantly. So you really do want to think of a future proof. And as we're making choices, we want to really plan for what is the long term, where are we going? Often, for instance, I have clients, I have one right now that we're planning for about this much growth in a year, but we know their plans are to have about 1,000% growth. So the system's actually been architected from day one to support a load balanced environment, strong databases, and really to grow where they are. And they won't have those license fees increase with it. Since they own the software, there are no license fees. But obviously there's a lot that goes into that. I think looking at the ROI, the return on investment over 2 and 3 years, is another really important thing to consider. So as you're choosing, those are definitely conversations we want to have of not only what software, what process improvement is needed today, but thinking long term about how do we support the business, how do we support the plans. And this is another really important part, is infrastructure can grow with you. There's choices. Not everyone has the budget and the means and everything to build the whole thing today. Trust me, as a business owner, I get that. But what we want to do is make sure that step 1 leads to step 2 and leads to step 3. And there's a lot of decisions we can make there of maybe starting with a shopping cart, and then we know we're going to extend that, and eventually we're going to put a custom interface. Eventually we're going to do this, and eventually we're going to do that. That really allows us to create software that grows with your company, but that we can keep that investment balanced with the business. To start the conversation, the first step really is to meet, and we just talk and we understand the business needs and really dive in and see what's possible. Through our website, we have our contact form, and the best step is to just schedule an appointment so that we can talk through your specific needs and start planning the best path and see what's going to be a good fit for your business. Ready to buy custom software? I did my job.